March 2025. The streets of Meerut were still drenched in the colors of Holi. Some alleys were blue, some pink, some yellow. But amid these vibrant streets stood a house whose four walls were stained red. This was the home of Saurabh and Muskan, a home that held many secrets. But the biggest mystery of all, where was Saurabh Rajput? For days, his family had been trying to reach him. Calls went unanswered, messages were left unread. No one knew where Saurabh had disappeared, but the horrifying truth was hidden inside a blue drum, one that would shake the entire city of Meerut to its core. This is a story of love, betrayal, drugs, and black magic, a story where humanity was lost. He was such a good boy. I can't believe this happened to him. This is a case that will shake the very foundation of society. This is the story of Saurabh, Muskan, and Sahil. Today, we bring you the Meerut Drum murder case. On the morning of March 18th, a man named Bablu walked into a Meerut police station. His face was tense, his hands trembling as he clutched a missing person report. His younger brother, Saurabh Rajput, was missing. Saurabh was a former merchant navy officer who had recently returned from London to celebrate Holi with his family. But days had passed, and he had neither visited his parents nor spoken to them over the phone. His family suspected that his wife, Muskan, was deliberately keeping him away from them. As the police began their investigation, shocking revelations began to surface, truths so disturbing that even narrating them requires courage. However, these are all allegations for now. Nothing has been proven in court yet. But here's what we know so far. Saurabh and Muskan's love story began in 2016. Their wedding was a love marriage, one that Saurabh's family never truly accepted. Despite their disapproval, Saurabh stood by Muskan. He loved her deeply and was willing to go against his family's wishes for her. At the time, he worked in the merchant navy, a profession that often kept him away from home for months. But shortly after their wedding, Saurabh made a life-changing decision. He quit his job. He wanted to spend more time with his wife. His family found this odd. Why would a man give up such a well-paying, stable career so suddenly? They feared that Muskan was influencing him. Tensions began to rise between Saurabh and his parents. Arguments turned into fights. Eventually, he and Muskan moved out and rented a house of their own in Meerut. Despite the distance from his family, Saurabh remained happy. In 2019, their daughter was born, and for him, nothing mattered more than his little girl. But while Saurabh was busy building a future for his family, Muskan had reconnected with someone from her past, someone who would turn their love story into a nightmare. Sometime in 2019, Muskan's old school friends added her to an alumni WhatsApp group. Among those in the group was Sahil Shukla, Muskan's ex-lover from her school days. Sahil had been her teenage crush. They had been close, maybe even in love, but time had separated them, leading them down different paths. Now, fate had brought them together again. It started with casual conversations, then came late-night chats. Soon, they were meeting in secret. An extramarital affair had begun. Neighbors started noticing a strange man visiting Muskan when Saurabh was away. Rumors began to spread. Eventually, the truth reached Saurabh. The betrayal shattered him. He had sacrificed everything for Muskan, his career, his family, his dreams, only to be deceived. Fights broke out. Families got involved. Saurabh decided to divorce Muskan, but there was one thing stopping him: his daughter. She was innocent. A divorce would change her life forever. For her sake, Saurabh decided to give his marriage one last chance. But while Saurabh fought to save their family, Muskan had already made up her mind. She no longer cared about her husband. She only cared about Sahil. Sahil Shukla was not a regular man. He was a drug addict, an alcoholic, and a loner. His only companion was his elderly grandmother, with whom he lived. His mother had passed away years ago, and her death had left him emotionally unstable. But there was one more thing about Sahil that made him dangerous: his obsession with black magic. he was deeply involved in the occult. He studied dark rituals, practiced tantric sorcery, and firmly believed in the supernatural. As Sahil and Muskan grew closer, he pulled her into his dark world. Under his influence, Muskan became addicted to drugs. Their affair was no longer just about love or lust, it became a toxic whirlwind of intoxication, rituals, and crime. And when Saurabh left for London on work, their reckless behavior reached new heights. Muskan was finally free. No husband, no rules, no one to stop her. But then, a thought crept into her mind. What if Saurabh returned? His return would ruin everything. And so, she devised a plan to get rid of him forever. She planned his murder. Muskan and Sahil began plotting Saurabh's murder in November 2024. First, Muskan bought large butcher knives, pretending they were for cutting meat. Then, she started hoarding sleeping pills, faking anxiety to obtain them. Now, all they needed was the perfect opportunity. It came soon enough. On February 24th, 2025, Saurabh returned to India, excited to surprise his wife and daughter for their birthdays. Little did he know, his wife had a horrifying surprise planned for him. On the night of March 4th, Muskan laced his food with an overdose of sleeping pills. Saurabh ate his last meal, completely unaware of what was about to happen. As he slipped into unconsciousness, Muskan and Sahil entered the bedroom, knives in hand. What happened next was pure horror. They stabbed him repeatedly, over and over. Sahil then severed Saurabh's head from his body. The blood-soaked room witnessed the end of a man who had given up everything for love. His crime: trusting the wrong person. What happened next? How did they dispose of the body? And how did the police uncover this gruesome crime? The gruesome crime had been committed. Saurabh Rajput was dead, but his killers, Muskan and Sahil, were not done yet. They had a body to dispose of. Muskan and Sahil knew that if Saurabh's body was found, they would be caught immediately. So they came up with a chilling plan. They purchased a large plastic drum, the kind typically used for storing water. One by one, they stuffed Saurabh's dismembered body parts inside. To mask the smell, they poured layers of salt and chemicals over the remains. Then, they sealed the drum shut and left it inside their own house, a body hidden in plain sight. For 14 days, Saurabh's corpse remained inside that blue drum, while his family desperately searched for him. Saurabh's mother knew something was wrong. She had called her son dozens of times. Each time, Muskan had an excuse. He's busy. He's out of town. He lost his phone. But a mother's instincts never lie. She knew her son was in danger. On March 18th, she begged Saurabh's elder brother, Bablu, to go to the police. The missing persons report was filed. The police arrived at Muskan's house, and immediately, something felt off. Muskan appeared nervous. Sahil was nowhere to be found. And then, they noticed it. A blue drum sitting in a corner of the house. It was sealed shut. A strange odor was coming from it. The moment the police forced it open, the truth spilled out. Inside, they found the decomposing remains of Saurabh Rajput. Case closed. Or so they thought, because what they discovered next was even more shocking. As the investigation deepened, horrifying details emerged. Muskan and Sahil had planned this months in advance. Not only had they killed Saurabh in cold blood, but they had also looted his bank accounts after his death. His money was used to fund their drug habits. But there was something even darker. Investigators found evidence of black magic rituals inside the house. On the night of the murder, Sahil had performed a tantric ritual over Saurabh's severed head. Candles, symbols drawn in blood, and books on black magic. This wasn't just a murder, it was a ritualistic killing. Muskan had once claimed to love Saurabh. Now, she had offered him as a sacrifice. Muskan and Sahil were arrested immediately. The evidence was overwhelming. DNA, fingerprints, phone records. They had left behind a trail of their own guilt. Their trial became one of the most shocking cases in India's criminal history. The The verdict? Muskan and Sahil were sentenced to life in prison. Their daughter was placed under the care of Saurabh's family. Justice was served. But could any punishment truly match the horror of their crime? Saurabh Rajput was a man who gave everything for love. But in the end, love was what destroyed him. His story is a chilling reminder. Sometimes the people closest to us are the ones we should fear the most. A man betrayed, a love turned deadly, and a crime so twisted it shocked an entire nation. How far can obsession take a person? How deep can betrayal cut? What do you think? Was justice served, or did Muskan and Sahil deserve a worse fate? Tell us your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget, stay alert, stay safe, because sometimes the biggest dangers are right inside your own home. Subscribe for more true crime stories. Until next time, stay safe.